once again. I hope you all are doing well today. My name is Sam, and we're going to talk about some Sims 2 stuff on the theme of gardening. The goal for this video is kind of to highlight mods that will improve and add more depth to your Sims gardening experience overall. Gardening is something that has been present in all of these Sims PC games. Over time, it continued to develop, and by the time we made it to The Sims 3 and The Sims 4, there was much more detail involved. Personally, my favorite gardening is in The Sims 3. I love searching for seeds in the open world and all the variety of plants out there, although sometimes the variety can be a little overwhelming, and that'll come up later in some of our talking about the mods here. But I don't tend to spend as much time gardening in The Sims 2. I guess I don't find it as engaging, but recently I have been looking more into mods that can improve the Sims 2 gardening experience overall. There's one mod in particular that sort of inspired me to continue to expand in this area. So before we get into all of that stuff though, we're going to talk about some really useful fixes that help improve the way that Maxis has set up gardening, and that's going to give us a good basis before we start getting these other mods that add new features on top of it. There are two main mods I want to discuss. The first mod is by a creator named Similar90. I have a bajillion of their mods. I highly recommend checking out their on Mod the Sims. So the title of this mod is kind of lengthy and not even really much of a good title to call it by, but it does a lot of different things. You'll see that there is lots of different sort of parts that can be picked and chosen separately, but a few of them are gardening related, and those I think are important to look at in improving gardening. So the first one is the Gardening Rake Leaf Pile mod. This mod re-enables a feature that Maxis disabled after releasing Apartment Life. This feature considered raking leaves and gardening as part of the same tending the yard action. So when a sim finishes raking leaves, they will continue that tending by trimming hedges or pulling weeds in the yard. So this was something that Maxis disabled after Apartment Life came out. And the reason they did that was, I guess, because there was a conflict with like the butler AI and getting the butler to work well. I don't know, something along those lines. So this re-enables that functionality, but it also has a really great check system in it to make sure that if the sim that's performing these actions is an NPC, it doesn't let them continue gardening like your regular sims will. So it just makes the gardening a lot smoother, and just taking care of your sim's entire yard a lot smoother. You want like leaf piles and things to be used for fertilizer and everything, and so that kind of becomes all one thing when it comes to tending your garden and having your sim add to the fertilizer pile and to the mulch and all of that. Another thing to note is that within this download, there's also a mod called the Gardening Route mod, or route mod, however you want to say it. This mod does conflict with something else that we'll be adding later on that also just does the same thing, so we are going to ignore this one for now. So from this download by Similar90, we're just looking for this Gardening Rake Leaf Pile mod. So the second fix that we're looking at is Lamar's Garden Tweaks. This is a bigger collection of adjustments, so I'll just give like a quick rundown. It's a lot of different things. First, we have the Compost Weed and Trimmings mod. So this mod allows your sims to add a lot more things to the compost bin so you can continue growing that pile of festering smelly fertilizer. I use the version titled Compost Weed Trimmings Walk to Bin in Access Badge. That's quite a mouthful, but I would suggest checking out the mod description to see which one's best for you. The next mod we want to talk about is the Harvest Many Means All. It's pretty self-explanatory. It makes sims harvest all the plants, whereas normally Maxis will have sims just harvest all of a particular variety. So like if you have a row of eggplants and a row of tomatoes and you click on the eggplant and say harvest all, apparently it just has your sim only pick the eggplants and ignore the tomatoes, even if they're harvestable as well. But so this makes it so your sim will do everything, no matter what type. I think the only thing it doesn't count is trees. I think you have to do the trees separately. The next, NPCs Don't Forget to Spray, makes gardening service NPCs spray for bugs alongside all their other duties that they might do while gardening. Then we have Plants Take Time to Sprout. I really like this one. It makes it so that the seed mound stays just dirt for a while before the plant sort of grows up out of it. So that's really just a nice little realism touch. And then lastly, there was a mod available that is called Don't Click on Occupied Garden Plot. But we're going to skip this mod because of a mod we're going to be discussing next that makes this one irrelevant. So now we have some basic fixes that are going to get our Sims gardening running a little bit more smoothly. Let's look into defaults. The one thing that every Sims 2 player loves and hates, the love-hate relationship, that is default replacements. First, we have some default garden plants. The version I prefer is by Vicky Sims, though it is important to note that it is an updated version of a default mod originally by Asarth. This mod not only makes the plants look more realistic, but Vicky's edit fixes some of the textures and a couple of issues that came up with the original default. You might see on the pictures I'm showing you, it helps some of the plants actually look like the plant they're supposed to be, which I really enjoy. Another important default here is for the fruit trees. Here's a default I've been using by EpiSims. One thing I would like to say about this one's pretty self-explanatory as well. It makes the fruit trees look nicer, but some of the mods we talk about later on that adjust the way fruit trees work might make this one seem a little unnecessary, but personally I like having it in for situations where I have fruit trees already placed on my Sims lots. But anyway, now that we have those basics taken care of, let's talk about the fun stuff. New features. First and foremost, we need to talk about the planting overhaul. This mod is what inspired me to put this video together in the first place. This is a great mod put out by Lamar. It adds a ton of extra details to growing a garden. One thing I love about the Sims 3 gardening is that you have to either send your Sims to the grocery store to buy what you want to plant, or you have to forage in the world to find seeds to plant. Then, if you want to fertilize your garden, you need to have collected the appropriate items to do so. Unfortunately, in regular Maxis Sims 2 gardening, this is not so much the case. When you buy a garden plot, you are able to click right on it, buy the plant and the fertilizer immediately. Like, yeah, technically you can get your own fertilizer, through the compost bin, but you can just buy it. If your Sim has the money, it doesn't matter. They can just buy it. This can sometimes feel a little too easy or just kind of lame, honestly. You might wish you could have your Sims be a bit more involved in the process of planting their garden. And the good news is that this mod gets us a lot closer to this more involved style of gameplay. So the planting overhaul requires your Sims to purchase their seeds and fertilizer from a stand placed on a community lot, or buy special seeds from certain NPCs. You are even able to make seeds from produce that you have grown yourself. If you read through the mod page, you will see that there is a lot more info about what is included in this mod, such as Honeywell's garden plot, which is an invisible garden plot that can sit in object slots, and like custom pots and planting boxes, and lets you can plant in those various things. So that's really cool. There are also lots of options for the varieties of seeds your Sims can grow. You can choose to pick one of the classic Maxis seeds, or you can expand your garden with all kinds of different plants. An important note on this subject, though, I guess a reminder, because this is a mistake I made originally when downloading this mod. You need to download the custom plant mods from the various creators listed here if you want them to work. This mod only provides the sort of the seed object, if you will, but it does not provide the actual plants that they grow into. And along with that, a mistake I made was I forgot to remove the seeds that were for the custom mods that I wasn't using. So when you download it, you're gonna get all of the seeds for all of the custom plants, and you need to delete the ones that you're not going to use, even if you haven't installed those custom plants. So you need to just remove those, because otherwise they seem to still show up in the game. And you can even buy them you can buy your seeds, and then when you plant them, nothing happens and it feels like there's something going wrong. Well, it's just because the plant doesn't exist to be planted because it's not in your game. So just something to keep in mind when you're downloading this, because that's a mistake I made. But overall, this overhaul is a fantastic way to expand your Sims gardening adventures, but it doesn't stop there. I have a few more mods to share on this topic. The same creator of the planting overhaul has also created a plantable orchard trees mod. I especially like this one because it has always bothered me that I had to grow the smaller plants, but then just outright buy the mature orchard trees. Thankfully, this mod adds the ability to grow orchard trees from seed. The trees have their own growth states, just like all the other plants. They start out as a little mound, and then there's like a immature size and then a full size. There's also an option to add a couple of new fruit trees to your collection, which is really nice. I think it's mainly like cherry, peach, and pear, I believe, are the options. But like the planting overhaul, you'll have to have downloaded the separate mod for those new trees in order for it to connect properly. And they're all linked in the description of this mod, of course. So speaking of the new trees and stuff, let's talk a little bit about that too. Here are some of a basic rundown of some of the custom plants that you can install alongside this mod. The creator, Asarth, has a collection of different custom plants, from pumpkins to lettuce to potato and just about anything else you can think of. There's a ton of options here. I originally installed their plants, but I actually found them to be a little too overwhelming, which was strange because I usually really like I talked about in The Sims 3, I love having all the variety of plants available. But I think just starting out and getting used to this mod, it was like kind of a lot. So I chose to remove them from my game. However, probably down the line, I'll probably add them back in after I've gotten more used to the functionality of this mod and everything, and maybe just get more into the Sims 2 garden in general. But there's also a creator called Sun and Moon, who has a massive collection of custom plants, which have been set up to work with this mod. Also, this creator also has a ton of other custom plants that haven't been connected to this mod that could also be really fun to look at, so I would suggest looking into their stuff. Lots of different themes and things. But the main thing about their crops is that they have a seasonal set, which of course means that the season you are planting in matters a bit more for how that plant does and stuff. I choose not to download this set for now. Again, just the complication was a little bit much for me with the seasonal set. But I think I probably would be likely to experiment with them in the future, maybe even more than just the regular Asarth plants. But then lastly, the set I would like to highlight is one that I do actually use. I feel like every one of these I'm like, I don't use it, but it's cool. But this one I do really use. This is Midge the Tree's Supernatural Garden Set. Have you ever wished that you could grow your own cow plant? Or have you ever wanted to make your vampire go vegan? Well, now you can with these supernatural themed seeds. Really though, I mainly downloaded these to keep my vampire alive without having to track down a living meal every few hours. I also recommend downloading the supernatural juice mod that comes with that. It doesn't come with it. It's also available from Midge the Tree. But yeah, so this just gives you a ton of different options. Some of them actually are plants that are kind of like the Sims 3 plants. There's like the life plant and the death flower. I don't know if the death flower, I think that's a Sims 3 and a Sims 4 thing. But yeah, there's a few different plants here. I really enjoy it. It adds an interesting level to the gardening, but I also enjoy supernatural Sims, so I guess if you don't like supernaturals, then that's different, but highly recommend that. Okay, I've done a lot of talking, but I hope your Sims gardens are looking a bit more alive and interesting now. What if we just added a little bit more, though? I have a couple of custom content sets I would like to highlight now to help you give your Sims gardens a little extra pop. First, I highly suggest T. Vicky's Garden Centers collection. This is a bunch of cute garden planters and garden deco objects. The planters have slots that will allow you to place the custom garden plot from Honeywell that I mentioned earlier. Second, T. Vicky also has a collaborative project with Lord Crumps called the Greenhouse Haven Kit. This gives you more gardening objects, even some new greenhouse walls and doors, which are really nice looking. They actually function as windows, but they take up the whole wall and look like a really nice greenhouse wall. And then lastly, I would like to shout out a set that has been referenced earlier. It's Honeywell's patio set, which is where the slottable garden plot, the custom garden plot that I've mentioned a few times, originates from. It also has a ton of CC that is not fully garden specific, but it does include some great planters for your new plants to live in. One important note for this set is once you have the planting overhaul version of Honeywell's garden plot, you do not want to download the original from this post. So the planting overhaul one has been, I don't know if maybe it's been edited or something to work better with that, but either way, you don't want the duplicate version from this download if you get this download. All right, well, that is that. That is our little adventure into some fun new gardening mods for The Sims 2. Do you feel like giving John Burb the garden of his wildest dreams yet? I think that some of these mods might really help him out with that. So I hope you enjoyed little mod showcase here. Let me know if there are any other topics or themes that you would be interested in me looking into as far as highlighting mods and custom content, or any other topic really. I've been enjoying doing these more informational videos, and I've been really enjoying live streaming on Twitch and doing gameplay through a live stream format, more so than the edited video format. But if you're not able to catch my live streams, I also have a Reupload channel where I share my live stream videos if you want to catch up that way. But I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's all right. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you found something fun and new to add to your Sims game. Have a good rest of your day, and goodbye. I'll see you next time.